Hi everyone, my name is Tarun Nagpal. I'm working as a front-end developer. You can follow me on Twitter, Tarun_geek. I used to write blogs and share some new talks about React. So today, what I'm going to uh, sorry, what I'm going to share is the a new state management technique, which is MobX. It's an app and state manage. I'll first talk about what is app application state and what is state management, and then what is MobX and MobX state tree, and third is I'll compare MobX with Redux and a small working example. So basically, my talk is about the way we manage the state into React. Right now, we heavily depend upon Redux, or if it's a small application, we do prop drilling to manage our app. So I'll share a different way which I recently used apart from Redux. I found a couple of disadvantages of using Redux, like unwanted boilerplate code, and the flow is too big for a one cycle. So to understand these problems and to overcome these challenges, so I worked on MobX and MobX tree. So I'll try to explain how I used it and how it can benefit you in your React project. Okay, I'm not sure why it's coming. Oh, yeah. So the very first question is, what is state? In a nutshell, or in a lawman's language, I would say it is an interface or a connection between your data and the various sources it change the data. For example, you have user data, and the way you manage that user data in the complete app is the place which you call state. And I would say is a single source of data that can be that multiple components can use. I mean, you have a single source where you can where this data can be used in multiple components. So I'll show an example. Like, and this is my let's say a Twitter, take an example of Twitter database. So in Twitter, my database could be stored in I'm taking any normal example, my user, which contain name, email, and my Twitter handle. So this is a user object. There can be thousands or hundreds of objects available, so all these place that Twitter use, they have to store in a centralized place, so that they can track like which was the old state and what is the new data, what was the old data, who changed, proper logging mechanism, debugging. And think of an application like a share market application where the current state of the share can be changed in every second, and you have to log everything and you have to manage things accordingly. So to manage all these kind of environment in React, so we have this state. So next is, what is state management? I mean, I would say it's a process in which you effectively handle your application state. I mean, it is a process, or it's a technique in which you smartly handle your application state, so that if it's changed from multiple sources or multiple times, or I mean multiple components, you find it very good to manage. I mean, you don't mess your React application because you're unsure who changed the last state and what is changing it. The data was showing right, but suddenly after 1 second you see a different state. You are totally unsure who's doing that. So to, in order to manage this state, so we need state management technique. We have various state management techniques in React right now. One is Redux, another is MobX, and the and Facebook is also coming with its own API on library. I'm not remember the name. I think Reconcile or something like that. They also provide the context API in React, which it's also an internal way to handle the state. So, so these are all the process by which you manage your application state, and the way you handle is the management. And we have a lot of benefits if we manage our state in the React application effectively. Benefits like we have a proper structure of an app. Like if you're working for application 1 year down the line, you left and you start the application 1 year back, I mean later. If you follow the proper structuring, you know where you put all the files. So Redux and other libraries provide these benefits. I mean, you can debug your application like a pro. I mean, you have a lot of logging library available that can help you track even a single dot of your application. With the help of debugging tools and loggings, you can manage your state. Third is the restrict, or I would say security, that unwanted source. Like if you put data in a centralized place and you know from which source it's coming, and if you detect something, it's the data is changing from a different source. I mean, so that you can prevent that. So okay, now comes to MobX. MobX, I would say it's a simple and scalable state management solution. Why it's simple, why it's scalable, I'll explain next. But I would say MobX is all, it's a standalone library. There is no direct connection between MobX and React, but most people are using it with React because they found it very useful these days. It basically synchronize your application state with your React component. I mean, it acts as a glue by which your application state and your React application can be binded in a very good and efficient manner. So basically, what it does, MobX basically create a dependency state graph. I mean, it's a kind of a proper structure it creates of dependencies, and it makes sure your application only updated when it's actually needed, so that you save unwanted re-rendering on your application. So you can check out the I'll share the link at the end, so you can check out the theory behind MobX. What I would say, it works on a pattern observer observable, which is very easy to learn, and you can utilize their own features that we are using uh, in other libraries. Like in Angular we use RxJS. So similar kind of functionality, you can use it, and you basically save a lot of extra unwanted code. Okay, so like I already said, MobX has advantages over Redux. The very first and the biggest advantage which I personally like is the minimal boilerplate. Like if you talk about Redux, or if you have worked on Redux, you have to write code in 3 4 lines just for a single API call. You write an action in component, then you write, then you dispatch it, then in reducer you write, and then you write Redux saga or thunk, and then you get back into the component. So the kind of cycle takes a lot of boilerplate code, which MobX avoided. In Redux, you need, I mean, you need a dispatcher, or I would say reducer, to basically bind your state. Wherein in MobX, if you created your store and you have attached that store to every components, your internal components don't need to be notified. Okay, boss, so this state has changed. So it derives your application state automatically into your component. For example, you have a weather API and you have weather application, where after every 30 minutes or 40 minutes, it will randomly show you a weather of a random city. Let's take an example. So all your components who are sharing the weather, they don't need to be notified by a dispatcher or a reducer. It derives your state automatically. Whenever the API change at the background, your application will show the updated weather. And in terms of learning curve, I would say MobX has less learning curve. You only need to understand one pattern and you are good to go. Okay. So this is the data flow of MobX. What we do, we have all the actions. Action can be anything, like from your HTML, you click a button like submit form, or you hit a API like show me my data, anything. The action could be anything. From the HTML or your React component, you trigger a action, and this action modifies your application state. This may be getting value from third party APIs, or this could be internal calculation, or this could be your manipulation of data, something like that. All the third party things can be modified here. So whenever you have your updated value, I mean, whenever you change your state, the updates with the help of compute values. I mean, this is a portion where you store your basically where you get your updated data. And when you get your updated data from state, you trigger that data to HTML or your React component. So this cycle repeats on. I mean, you have your HTML, basically a button like what is the weather today? Click on the bottom, it will show you weather. Or like give me a thought of the day. You click a button, thought will be displayed. So this cycle, whenever you hit any action in your application, so this cycle flows. I mean, this is the basically flow by which MobX manage your application. So this is a tried and tested mechanism by which you can like I created application which is an admin dashboard, and it was a huge functionality like multiple roles and multiple sources and multiple imports, uploads, S3 uploads. I mean, I have handled huge application with the help of same MobX data flow. Okay. Now let's talk about the code structure, how we write. I mean, I like it the way MobX manage the store is very familiar. If you're coming from backgrounds like object-oriented languages, or if you have worked on any kind of getter setter pattern, or like common classes pattern, if you have used, you will be very feel familiar with that. So how does MobX structure its code? See, this is a file which we call it store. I mean, this is the complete application state that is stored in a store. What it does it, I mean, we have on every store we have this model where the whole data reside. So this is the view part. View part means if you want to see the list of users, you write a function in view. And if you want to see the to-do list, you call a function action. So action is a place which actually changes your model. I mean, you can I would say compare it with the MBC or like any other common pattern. It's not a pure MBC pattern, but it's a kind of same thing that we are doing. So you can sorry, this spelling is wrong. So you can create as much as store you can. I mean, user, to do, these are all different altogether modules. You create a different modules and import that module in this file. If you want to change anything uh, globally, you can put here. And if you have to change anything internal store, you can write the same pattern inside this store. And this is the place which actually create a variable, or I would say value, that will act as a store. I mean, root store is the I would say a type by which we created all the stores and combined it into one. And with the help of this store, we stored all the values, and you can pass the default values to each store here. I mean, you are so here when you when you write dot create, you are basically like you are calling the constructor, and in the constructor you pass all the default values. I mean, if you observe this pattern and if you understand it clearly, you can create any React application, no matter how big the size is, no matter how much complexity it has. And you will find that this pattern will give you a way by which you can write less code and achieve more things in the particular code. Okay. Now let me show you a coding example that will clarify more things. Mm, okay. First of all, I'll show you what I have built here, and I will share the GitHub link as well. If you want to play with the code or explore, or if you want to use it in your next project, you can use the same structure. So what I did is, uh, Kiran, can you confirm? Is the screen visible again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Okay. Is the font is also okay?
Yes, perfect, perfect.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks. So what I did is, it's a small to-do app. Like this is basically any task I add, like buy me coffee, add task, add task. So what I'm doing is, like, I have created a small to-do app. I mean, with the help of this text box, you input the values, and with the help of add task, you have button. And when you click on this done, you can see the state changed with the help of MobX. I'll show you the complete code. I mean, when you tick on it, all the components will get notified, and wherever you have used this variable, it will be shown. Likewise, it decrease. So how I build this small application, which can be scaled up to a huge level with the help of MobX, I'll show you. Uh, Let me reshare. Okay, now let me increase the font. Okay, now let me first guide you the folder structure which I use. What I did is, like I didn't I created two store here. One is to do store, another is user model. Let me first guide you how you can integrate your MobX in any React app. So what you need is, you basically need three packages. One is the MobX, which is the raw package. I mean, uh, this is no relation with the React. MobX React is the binding of MobX and React, just like we have React Redux. So we have MobX React. MobX state tree. I mean, this is a way which I prefer, because it gives somewhat structure similar like Redux, so that you have less learning curve if you're coming from Redux. Otherwise, it will give you a tree type shape. For this, you need MobX state tree. That's it. These are the only three packages you need in order to set up your MobX. So here, what I did is, here I created this store. Uh, Let me minimize all. Yeah, okay. So I created this two child store, to do and user, and I have imported these two in the model here. And with the help of views, I am manipulating these, and with the help of views, I am getting this, and with the help of action, I am changing the values. And finally, this is the store which I'm calling with the default values. Like if I specify anything here, I save it. Sorry, I'm not able to show the browser. There is a back and forth issue. Okay, so this is the default value which I'm passing, and this will be picked by the by this store. So now this is the main file where we have our store. So you can create your store like this, your MVC pattern or what you call, and in this store you import all this. You call this constructor root store dot create, in which you pass all the default values of your store, and your complete store can be in different modules. So this is the pattern which I follow. This is not, there is no hard and fast rule. You can use whatever pattern you need. So types is a way by which MobX state tree gives you a power, like we created data types and like use to do, and you can manipulate with that. And values is a way by which you can return the values. And I created two child store. One is this to do, name and done. And set name is a value, like whenever you submit the what you called form, you set the name of the task. And toggle is a state by which you mark this task as done or not done, and it is returning set name and toggle two function. So this actions can be written here. So we don't need view here, so that's why I haven't used it. So I use two properties in the model, and I have used actions. So this comprises of my to do model. So this user model, although I'm not using anything, just for the sake of demonstration I have shown it. So by the way, if you are familiar with TypeScript or new syntax of ES6, so this types is kind of same thing by which you can create any data type you want. I mean, it will extend JavaScript's existing capability of data types, and will give you another data type that you can use. Same functionality that TypeScript gives. Like you can create your own data types. So it have a huge list of data types that you can use internally and manipulate with it. So this is a to do, this is user, and with the help of store I created it. Now I'll show you how I binded this store to the complete application, and how it is different from Redux. Like you don't so whenever the value is changed in this store, if you have already subscribed to the store, you don't need to notify the components. It will automatically derive this store values. First I'll show you how I binded this store. You go to index.js. See here, with the help of app, I what I did is I simply pass a store like this, and the props that are given here, this props dot store, this is globally available in every component of your React app. You can directly hit to dos, or you can directly hit any other store value. See, I have this to do store, which I called here uh, yeah, this to do's. You can directly use this to do's or any store you want. You don't need to import your I mean you don't need to import your store here, child store here. Once you pass the store as a in the application props, so this will be available to your complete app. And whenever something in change in when there is any change in the global store, the components can be automatically notified about it. So these are all the helper functions I write. So how I created this application, like this is a small app. This is a button I have, add task. Whenever I do on click, I am just adding a value in the store. Add to do the function which I created. You cannot go directly. Okay, I'll show you this function. And when you click on add task button, it will add this value. So this is the view by which we are showing the values, and this is the counter view on which we are displaying how much tasks are left and how much things are left. So you can see in this component I am using the global store of MobX, and there is no direct dependency of the store. Only one change that you need to do is you need to make your component observer. That's it. Once you make it observer, like this in app also I make it observer, it will automatically I would say it will follow the observer observable pattern by which it will automatically get these values available into your store. Yeah, so few advantages which I already said. So you can see the packages that you require is you don't need any kind of thunk or Redux Saga or any other values. You can manipulate these Ajax calls according to your store. You can create your own place where you put all these values. You don't need generator functions like we need in Redux, like where you pause your execution, and there is no what you call dispatchers available. You can directly uh, call your application state component directly from your components like this. And whenever you want to get the updated value, you don't need to check the previous next values or something. You can simply show your values like this. Yeah, now coming back to the slides. Yeah, I'll share all my slides and other on my Twitter. Uh, you can follow me on Twitter where I will share all these materials and GitHub links. Yeah, now it's your turn. I'm available for any questions or any kind of doubts if anyone have.